Crafternoon, everyone. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today, we are going to be doing the next installment, the next edition of our Master Layout series, and today we're going to be focusing on Master Layouts 9. Now, Master Layouts 9 is a unique die set because it was originally designed for a class that I taught for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. It's a masking set. So it was designed to use for masking so that you could do beautiful ink blends in different shapes very quickly and easily. But then when we released it as a Master Layouts die set, there are so many other things that you can do with it as well. So I've made some of those sample ideas for you, but then we're going to focus on its original intention and do some ink blending today. So before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Happy Crafternoon. Hey, I just thought of another word of the day.
You did?
While you were talking.
Uh-oh.
This is not only another installment, it's another enthrallment.
Yes, it is.
Of the Master Layout series.
It is. It's enthralling. It's
an enthrallment, the latest enthrallment. Hi, everybody. Glad you could join us. Glad to be here in the dead space and the bright space.
Yes. I cleaned my space.
You're on a tear.
I am, and I moved my bright space to up there, and now you can't see it. I'll have to move it back, but I did. I cleaned everything, and I just have to show everybody. We just have to give them one shot of this. Remember my very, very ugly basket of scraps? Check this out. I organized all my scraps. Yes, I did. I used our large stamp pockets, and I put all my reds, my oranges, yellows, greens, blues, purples, pinks, browns, grays, and then I have a big bin for white, black, and ivory. And then I put all my half-cut sheets back here and my long-cut sheets here and all my pre-folded card bases that I found here. And I did everything in rainbow order, so now I don't have to waste cardstock anymore. So super easy to do. It was very therapeutic yesterday, and I was able to wrap it all up in about an hour. And I know it doesn't seem like I have a lot of scraps, but, I'm pretty good about using them. But the thing is that once they start getting out of hand, you just stop using them because it's too complicated to dig through. So get your scraps done. Get some large Gina K Design stamp pockets and get your scraps ready. You can also use our color labels. Let me find those here. I have some somewhere. I know I do. Oh, let me show you. I can't see anything without my glasses on, but, well, there are color labels. I'll find them later. There are color labels for our ink pads, but you can also use them to label your scraps. So, you could put all the different colors that are in that particular pocket on there. So, yeah, that was what I did yesterday, waiting for Tom to get back with my car. He took my car to help our daughter. All right, well, are you ready to get started, Tom?
Ready to get started.
Okay. Well, for anybody that's new and joining us for the first time, this is the Master Layouts die series. This is number 9 that we're working on, and this is what the Master Layouts 9 die set looks like. It's got a 4-window pane. It's got an oval, a circle, a long rectangle, 2 strip sentiments, and this one actually has a word and shadow die. And I chose friend because that is something that all of us have. We have one friend out there that we could send a card to. Not everybody has parents, not everybody has kids, not everybody has a spouse, but everybody has a friend that they could send a card to. And even if it's somebody newer in your life, they may be a new friend. So I thought friend is a good die to have in your collection, and I had a little bit of extra space that I could fill with this masking set. So that's what we put in here. And also the shadow die can be used to mask off on ink blending to leave an opening for the word friend that you stamp. And let me show you the stamp set that we're going to use today. We're going to be using this stamp set. Let me get a piece of white cardstock here. This is called Friendly Silhouettes. And this was actually designed to coordinate with the Master Layouts 9 die set. So this friend word actually fits in the shadow layer of this die. So let me show you that real quick. This is just a little FYI for those of you that love to have all the things that work together. So here's the shadow die, and you can see that will cut that word out perfectly if you wanted to stamp it in color, you know, maybe do a technique, maybe do gold embossing or silver embossing, where it also has the actual die that will cut out the word friend, and they layer together to create that word and shadow look. So lots of ways to use this Friendly Silhouettes stamp set with the Master Layouts 9. And because I designed these at the same time, I am going to focus on this stamp set today because I think it's a really good one to use for the techniques that I'm going to show you. All right, so let's look at our binder. So if you're new, this cover sheet is available on the blog. You can download all of the little sheets for every Master Layout set, including the cover sheet. And this QR code will take you right to the spot where you can download the next ones. So next time we'll be working on Master Layouts 10. You might want to download those sheets when they, you know, go up on the blog, and you don't have to remember where they are. You just take your smartphone, put your camera on, and it'll take you right to the spot. So we are up to Master Layouts 9. We did Master Layouts 8 last week, so here we are, Master Layouts 9. So this gives you all of the sizing for each of these dies at a glance. This way, if you're thinking about, well, what master layouts can work with it, or you may have a die set from another company and you want to know the exact size, whether or not something's going to work together. It'll also be able to tell you if your strip sentiments are going to fit, and then it also tells you how big this friend, word, and shadow die is. So this is available for download, and also the Master Layouts idea sheet is available for download, and we're going to create some of these cards today. Now, I also made my tri-cut pieces. I made these out of just some grass green because in reality, this one, you know, you might need this panel or this piece to see if something's going to fit, a word or something like that is going to fit on these. But this set really was designed more for masking. Now, with my tri-cuts, I did keep the 4 pieces that fell out of this window because you could be doing a card where you want to lay something out like this and you want to make sure that it fits. I also cut out 4 of the circles because I do think sometimes we want to make some cards that might have a layout like this, maybe on a square card where you want to do 4 circles, and you might want to see if the circles will work. These circles are also fun to make a big background on your card, just cutting out different pieces of cardstock. For example, you could cut them out and just glue them all onto your card, and then you can just trim around the outside, and then the ones that are hanging over the edge will just go off the edge, and it'll look like some kind of cool textured pattern cardstock. So, and also I always like to have these little die cut tri-cuts ready for my word dies, because then I can look at them and make sure that something is going to fit first before I stamp it. All right, so I keep my tri-cuts in a little medium stamp pocket, and then I just take my label maker and make a little label for it, and I keep it right behind the sizing sheet. You'll see that in every single one of my videos. I do that for each of the different master layout sets. All right, so let me show you some of the layouts that I created that aren't part of this thing. They are, but they're not. And let me explain to you what I mean. So these replicate masks. So you would cut either a piece of cardstock or a piece of masking magic out to leave that window open. You would lay that on top of your cardstock and you would ink blend through it and then pull that piece of cardstock off. For example, in this case, I could use this tri-cut, right, over a little piece of white cardstock, and then I could ink blend on here and then pull it off, and what would be left behind would be these boxes filled in with ink blending. So that's what these replicate, but I wanted to see how they would look actually if we turned them into more three-dimensional cards instead of just masking. So the first two here are actually, this is the open window, right? So these are open windows in here that could be stamped. You could use the cloud sea, sun, and sky stencil to do clouds, and you can make this like a 4-pane window versus using it as a mask. And something like this would be really beautiful with, say, a floral coming along the edge of the window. You could have it kind of like this was the outside window and this was kind of like growing up out of a shadow box. You can also, instead of using this word, you could use something like this, which is from the Thoughtful Flowers. So you can see how that would be very beautiful, not doing this masking technique at all, which is on the other side here, where you stamp in the 4 windows, but actually using that as a window element and then kind of creating a floral like that. So now this one, same thing. I cut out this, which would be a mask, to create that ink blended oval for silhouette stamping, but it also creates a very beautiful grounding panel where you could do something like have a couple of flowers on here and have that big open oval in the center, and then you could always put a die cut word in the center of that. So you can see how that same layout doesn't need to be used as a mask, but rather as a grounding panel for some floral images. Okay, so and I just made a bunch of bits and pieces over the weekend, so I'm just using them today. Obviously, they don't match necessarily. This one didn't look too bad, actually. Pretty too, with a word across the center of that flower. And that doesn't look too bad. That kind of matches a little bit. All right, so they're my first 2 card ideas. Now, here we have, let's take a look at this. We've got a grounding image right here. Now, normally this would be cut out and ink blended, and then you could stamp some silhouette images over it. If you didn't want to do them straight in a row, you could kind of angle them going down, and the butterfly is a great image for this. You could also use birds, you could use dragonflies, you could use bees, whatever kinds of silhouette stamps that you have. You could even use floral images like these going down, and then put your strip sentiment across. But it also, if you cut it out of solid cardstock or patterned paper, it can be another beautiful way to ground an image. For example, let's see what I have here. You know, you could use something like this, and then underneath, I'm just using these same greetings over and over again, where you could put this down here. You could even use this strip as just a decorative element. So cut this out of one pattern paper, cut this out of a coordinating cardstock, just as a divider between your words and your florals. Or you could use that as a strip sentiment and move it down. It could be thinking of you. You know, you could have the thinking of you here, and then you could have and wishing you peace, or wishing you joy, wishing you a happy birthday, whatever you want. So you can see how this could work as another grounding panel. And then something like this one, which again, here are 3 open holes that could be ink blended and then stamped on with a little strip sentiment going across. In this one, you could use any of our little cutesy images, like our little, let me grab a set here. I know I have one, like these kinds of images, where you would want to stamp a couple of cute little things that could sit into these circles and then add a strip sentiment on here. We've got our little mixed cocktails that you could put in there, or the little baby images that we have that you could put in there, a little stork and a little onesie. Or you could use something like this just as decorative. So do a cool alcohol ink background, or do different stencils in each hole, and then use those as grounding elements for a big floral. And then, you know, you could have your backgrounds showing through that way. You can also use these for different flower images. For example, I've got some of these ephemera pieces. You could have a floral in one, you know, different flowers in each one. I have one more big flower in here. I think I do. This one doesn't really match, but you get the idea, where you could put floral images and some greenery around them in some way, and just have kind of 3 separate floral grounding panels, and then pop your greeting across the center like that. And all that does is just ground those images so they're just not scattered on your card. It kind of gives you little framed out areas. So this image here comes from our Thoughtful Flowers set. This image here comes from our Delicate Dahlias. And this image comes from our Wishful Florals, or Wishful Flowers. I'm not sure which one. Brianne will know. She'll share them. But these are the 3 different flower sets that I used. This one comes from Spring Clusters. This is another one, and I'm going to show this technique in a couple of days, or a couple of videos. I did ink blending with the coloring stencils, but then I also colored it with Prismacolor pencils and Gamsol to kind of glow it up a little bit. And that's another really pretty design that could be used on any of these. You know, you can use them on absolutely any of these designs. Okay, so that's a couple of card ideas. Now, I wanted to show you something that's not on the idea sheet and not on the cards we've shown so far. So here I used the negative pieces that fell out of this big Master Layouts die. And you could take a big layering stencil and ink blend a stencil, and then, you know, ink blend a stencil on paper and then cut it out and just use the fallout pieces from that would have that stenciled design on it, and make a different style window. You could use the other one for a different window. Whatever, you know, the piece that you kept would just have a beautiful frame. It would have like a stenciled frame going around the outside. But then these pieces would be the actual floral design, and you could just line them back up. And it's also very easy to line these up on your card. All you have to do is place your piece of your Master Layouts piece, just place it on there and just tape it down with some masking magic, and then put glue in each of the holes and then just pop them into place. That's a very easy way to lay those out and not have to worry about trying to figure out where they should be on the edges and how far in and how far apart. Just use this as your template and just paper piece them right back into the holes. Okay, now this one, you could do this with either the rectangles or the circles. The circles, you might want to go with like a mini slimline because they might be a little bit too big. But let's look. I didn't try it because it was late last night. It might work. I think they're going to be a little bit too big. But maybe if you did a 5x7 card using these, you could either do the circles going across, or you could do these squares going, or rectangles going across. And then, you know, put a different floral image, or you could stamp something in there, like, you know, little baby things, or the mixed drinks, things like that, and then pop a strip sentiment on there, or one of your other sentiments on there. And this is a fun additional layout that you can do with this die set. So all of the pieces are really valuable, everything that falls out along with this outside frame. All right, so now the other thing I wanted to show you was a card that I made in our last video. I wanted to remind you of this card. And if you didn't watch the Master Layouts 8 video, you can watch that to learn this technique. Let me just put these away so that this stuff doesn't all get in my space here, because I am going to be doing ink blending and silhouette stamping mostly today to show you how this works, and I don't want that in the way. I made this card last week using this same Master Layout set. And instead of just doing a single A2 size card like that, I made it into a 5x7 by extending the boxes. And I showed you the technique of how once you cut the 2 boxes, how you can lay the top box. Let me be a little more visual here. So once you cut this one out with the die, then you come back and you wiggle this one into the open spaces, and then that perfectly positions the next 2 to be cut out, and then you do the same thing again here. So you actually use the die 3 times to get all of these boxes for a 5x7 card. For a smaller card, you can just make 3 up, and that would be really pretty too. It would also be pretty, like a pretty square card. So I wanted to just remind you of this because we all did this last video, or at least I did it, and I know a lot of you did share your cards that you did in our Facebook group, and I wanted to remind you that this die set that I used with Master Layouts 8 was this die from Master Layouts 9 to create those openings. All right, so now it's time to use this die set a little bit more in the way that it was designed to be used, along with all those other ideas that we just talked about. And remember, you can always go back and watch the replay, and then when you make your pieces, when you make all of these, you can make some of the card ideas that I shared in the beginning and add those to your kind of repertoire of cards that you can make out of this set. All right, so I'm going to put this aside for now, and I am going to use some Masking Magic sheets. Now, if you don't have Masking Magic sheets, don't worry, you don't have to use Masking Magic sheets. You can use just a plain piece of cardstock too to use as your mask or your stencil. So we're really creating our own stencils. This die set. So these are the Masking Magic sheets. Now these are full sheets of Masking Magic paper, as opposed to the Masking Magic strips that I use in a lot of videos. So we're going to be using these today. We're also going to work in a Masking Magic strip as well, just because I have a fun technique that I want to show you. So let me get my paper cutter. And also, let me get my Misty with my grip mat in there. And then I did grab a new sticky mat. My other one is just fine, but this one has a little damaged part in the acetate. So, like I said, I always get the damaged things, and I figured, why not treat everybody to a brand new, clean little sticky mat. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to cut this down to, let's see, should I use Master Layouts too? Let's take a look here, because it is kind of fun to mix and match the Master Layout sets together. If you don't have Master Layouts 2, you can cut this to match Master Layouts 2, but this would be what it would look like together with the stitch die from Master Layouts 2. They coordinate so nicely together. So why don't we go ahead and do this, just to make it a little bit jazzier. So I'm going to cut a quarter sheet of cardstock down, and I'm going to create a white panel using the Master Layouts 2 die. Oh no, sorry about the sound. We tried everything to figure out what that is. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll keep working on it. But hopefully we can get through it. All right, then the other thing I want to do is I want to cut a piece of Masking Magic down that's going to be the right size for this panel. So I want to see if this is going to work. Yes, this is going to work. Okay, so let's start with this one, and we'll cut out master layouts too. The problem is that we don't hear it on our end, which means that it's probably something either in our mixing board that we've got to address, and so that's going to take a little longer than just changing out a chord. Okay, let's see if I got a good cut there. That felt a little weak, but got a good cut, so I'll take it. So I've got a master layout here. I'm going to cut one of the plain dies from Master Layouts 2 as well, and I'm going to cut that with some black cardstock. Guys, you don't know how nice this is to just have this cardstock right here ready to go. I'm not cutting into new pieces. I love it. Okay, good. I'm glad that you don't have any sound issues there. That's awesome. So I don't know if you've seen, but the northern lights are pretty vibrant right now up here in the north part of the country. And those are actually solar storms, is what the northern lights are. My understanding, you know, I've been trying to follow everything, and they said that sometimes that can affect the way internet transmissions are and stuff like that. So who really knows, right? And it's been, those northern lights have been around for a while. Like the last month we've been seeing them. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Okay. All right. So now, really shouldn't have put that die cutting machine away. What I'm going to do is, this panel, if you're cutting by hand, measures 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. Masking Magic measures 5 by 7. So the 5-inch side of this is going to be perfect to cover this panel. And then I want to go just a little bit bigger than the 3.5. So I'm just going to eke it over a little bit. I could go 3.5. Do I dare? It's going to go right to the edge. I could use Post-it notes. This way I could get 2 out of this piece of Masking Magic. Let's conserve, and then we'll do what we have to do. So this is going to go on top of that. Now, I want to make sure that I don't have any of this edge sticking out when I apply this. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut this to the exact size. And then I'll just use some Post-it notes around the perimeter. Oh, it is the exact size. Is it? No, it should be 4 3/4. So this is now 3.5 by 4 3/4. This way, when I center the windows on this Masking Magic, I'll know that if I line up the top and the sides, that my windows are going to be perfectly centered. Okay, and then here's another one that I can use for my next card. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to take this die, and we're going to cut that out using the die cutting machine, using Master Layouts 9. Yeah, that's what I went back and watched the replay, and I saw it was just for like a split second that it goes out, and it's not super bad, but we'll figure it out. Somebody'll figure it out.
Do you happen to have a video explaining how you use the gum containers?
Oh, well, how I use the gum containers?
Yes, Sandy wants to know if you could share your idea for using gum containers.
Well, all I do is, it just has the little paper in there, and once I chew the gum, I throw the paper out, and then I just store my little die-cut bits and pieces in the gum container. So you just, open it up and throw the little pieces in there and close them. If you want to use a label maker, you can always put what's in there on the gum container, but that's all I do. It's super easy. And I found out that the kind of gum that I chew the Wrigley's, what's the one that I chew, Tom? It's the green one.
Double mint.
Double mint. I really like double mint, but they have like the extra gum, and all the different kinds of gums now come in those containers, which is really nice. So, and lots of sugar-free gum too. But I use double mint, but extra also comes in the same containers. Rena chews extra, so I always try to grab her containers too when she's done with them. It's a great way to recycle. I didn't center this very well, so I'm going to redo it. And I'm going to try to make it straight on the screen so that it's not driving you all nuts too. So the die cutting machine needs to be straight. There we go. Okay. So I am deciding where I want this on my piece of Masking Magic. There we go. I know it's not straight, but I always like to have my die turned just a little bit on an angle when it's going through because I feel like it cuts better. And, you know, take the extra minute or two to line this up so that it's centered, because that's really going to help. I think I want to bring it up just a little bit. I know I'm being really picky about it. And even if it's not perfect, it's still going to look pretty good.
Any idea when the storage packets will be back in stock?
Storage pockets?
Pockets, yes. Sorry.
They've shipped to us, so that's all I can say. I don't know anything else other than that.
Sooner than later.
Sooner than later, for sure, because they've shipped. I know, I chew the gum now just to get the containers too. But yeah, usually it depends. Could take like 30 days. It could take less. I know we're trying to figure stuff out with all of that. Now these little pieces, I would keep these because they are great if you wanted to mask off 4 rectangles on your card. You could use your tri-cut piece as your template, and then you could stick those inside. Then you could do ink blending down your whole card and peel these off, and you would have 4 open white windows or ivory windows depending on the color cardstock. So I always save these. All right. So I think I can put this die cutting machine away for a little bit so we can get onto this card. Now, I am going to, this is tricky here. So what I like to do is I like to take just 1/2 of the sticky stuff off first. It's a lot less unruly when half of it still has the backing on there, because then you're only dealing with the top half, trying to get it lined up properly. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line it up. And I'm going to try to hold it up here toward the top, and I'm going to line it up. Let's see if I can do it on the corner here. Sometimes it's actually easier if you hold it. And the good thing about Masking Magic is it is very forgiving. If you didn't get it on there right, it's easy to take off. But that looks pretty good. So I just picked that up. And now, see, I still have... This isn't attached, so by doing that first, I get a good portion of it stuck down already. Now I can peel the rest of this backing off, and it makes it easier just to kind of, did I tear that? I did tear that a little bit, but that's all right. I'm just patting it into place. I'm not like pulling or stretching, just where it wants to go is where it should go. There we go. Okay, it's gonna look good. Now, I am gonna use Post-it notes just to be on the safe side. So let's pick some colors. For this, I think I'm gonna do, let me get some Post-it notes here. I'll get some yellow ones. So for colors, get my ink stand ready. I'm going to use, why don't I do like blues and purples for this card? So, let's see. Oh, where are my purples? Okay. So I'm going to use light lilac and maybe a little medium lilac. And then I might use a little blue sky and some powder blue. All right. Now, let me get a blue brush and a purple brush. And then I think I'm going to clean these brushes a little bit because they're a little crusty. They've been getting a good workout, but then, you know, when you walk away for 4 or 5 days, sometimes they get a little crusty. All right. because I don't usually craft here. I usually craft at home. So I take all my stamps and dies at home, and I do have, you know, the ink pads and the brushes. Well, you guys saw. I have my own set of inks and brushes and stuff like that at home. So just wanted to kind of clean these up a little bit and get a good fresh start.
Question.
Yeah.
Would the friend die work as letterpress in Intricate?
No, because with letterpress you need a die that's just a single blade to get the impression. And with these dies, you're going to have an outline on both sides. So it's, you could color it in. If you wanted to letterpress, you'd still have to color it in because it would just be the edges that would be touching, not the whole thing, if that makes sense. All right. So let's start up here at this top corner, and I'm just going to block this off.
And you clean the brushes with alcohol?
I used a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a paper towel because it dries super fast. It doesn't damage the bristles. It really gets the bulk of the ink off. And I don't like to wash my brushes because it loosens the glue in the head. All right, so we're going to start with some blue sky here. And I'm going to do one more because I really want to make sure that I stay away from down here in this corner. So I'm going to ink blend from the corner, and I'm going to fade up to nothingness, okay? And if you're worried that your, you know, you didn't nail it right along the edge, you can always put a couple extra. We're kind of like isolating it like we're doing surgery, but that's fine. And then I'm going to go heavy. And I am going to go all the way up, but heavier down here. And then I'm going to go in with just a tiny little bit of powder blue, just on the inside here, just to darken it up a little bit. Right along the line. See how I just darkened it in there a little bit? Okay. So I'm going to take that same alcohol-y paper towel, and I'm just going to clean that again just to make sure that the powder blue isn't on there for my next blue one that I'm going to do. So we're going to do the next blue one. We'll just take these off. And you can reuse your Post-it notes, especially when you're using colors that are kind of in the same vein, you know, where they won't like clash. If you put a little purple over blue, it'll just be a little more periwinkle, not a big deal, but you wouldn't want to do that with like yellow and purple because that would make brown. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just kind of isolating this a little bit just to protect it. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with the powder blue. And I'm going to come from here down. So all my heavy color is more in the center. And again, you don't have to use the Post-it notes. You could always cut your Masking Magic just a little bit bigger, and then you really only need to put Post-it notes to block the other boxes and not the outside. But this is going to give you nice crisp lines. Okay, and then we're going to go in with our powder blue and just darken that up a little bit, kind of along the line, just to give us that little bit of depth there. I just brushed some of that off. I want to come up here a little more. Okay. Now we're going to go to the purples. So I can use these same Post-it notes. They are getting a little saturated though, you could see. Sometimes when they get too wet, they bleed through a little bit and then they don't stick very well. But that's okay. We'll see what we can get out of it. All right. And then I'm going to do the same. Just block that off. And I don't trust myself. I don't trust my eyes. Like maybe there is actually a little bit of the edge there, and I just don't want to get color on it, so the Post-it note is more of a personal preference. So I'm going to start with light lilac. Get some light lilac on here. And here I'm using the ink stand for my ink. So Brienne, make sure you share that link too for everybody so that anybody that's looking for an ink stand. That's like the #1 question we get after a live. Where do I get that cool ink stand? And that's Brienne Loveland, her company. She and her husband make these. It's a made in the USA product. They make them in their... Is it in your garage, Brienne, that you do this? And then Brienne takes them after her husband makes them. And she puts the feet on them. She shows sometimes on her Instagram, so follow Brienne. She's got a cool Instagram. But she shows how she puts the feet on them, and then she gets them up on the website. And it's a very cool business and a cool idea. We love the ink stand. Oh, and I wanted you guys to know about the ink stand. Let me just show you. If you have a glass mat, Brienne has these they're like a little silicone kind of rubber foot on the bottom. They will stick on your glass mat and they do not move around. So if you have these, it'll work with your glass mat. I just got a Tim Holtz glass mat, so I'm pretty excited about it. And I was glad to play with it a little bit and see that these ink stands stayed really nicely on that. All right, so...
Get a really good woodpecker sound with that.
Yeah, you get a great woodpecker sound. So I'm using the medium, doing the same thing, a little heavier along the edge here toward the center. Okay. Now one more purple one. Alrighty. I love these colors together. Do you guys like this color combo? The blue sky with the lilac. If you don't have those colors, you can always use, I think turquoise sea would be really pretty with lilac. And also, even Blue Lagoon. Or you could go right to powder blue if you want and just go kind of lighter handed, at the end and just go heavier toward the center. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the light lilac. Yeah, I know. Chewing gum is a little pricey these days, isn't it? Oh my gosh. I remember going and getting I'm going to age myself here big time, but I remember going and getting a pack of chewing gum for like 50 cents. Boy, that's a long time ago.
We were leaving a restaurant the other night, and I caught Gina eyeing up the big thing of gumballs.
Oh, man, I love the gumball machine. Good times. Yeah, good times. But yeah, now it's a little pricey. You gotta conserve. You gotta chew half a stick at a time now, I guess, right? And now I'm going with the medium lilac.
And then one gumball quickly becomes a $1,500 dental job.
I know. That's why I chew the gum that I choose. Double mint, because it's not sticky. It's the sugar-free and it's not sticky at all compared to like a bubble gum. Okay, now I'm going to leave these, this Masking Magic on here. Okay. And then I am going to just pull this cardstock off. And now I'm going to put this into the Misty. All right. Now this is going into the Misty. The nice thing about using a grip mat is you could put it right in the center of your Misty. And you don't have to worry about it shifting around if you want to stamp it more than once. But I am going to put some Post-it notes around the perimeter so that I don't stamp where I don't want to stamp. Now you could do this part with an acrylic block if you're brave. I'm not feeling very brave today. Some days I'm brave, but not so much today. And I'm going to stamp my images inside each one of these boxes. So let's pick an image that we want to use from the friendly silhouettes. So, and also if you have the gentle silhouettes, because that's what we used on this card, and we also used autumn silhouettes, you can use whatever silhouettes you want. You don't have to do it this way. But I'm going to use these. I like these floral images, and they were kind of designed to work in these boxes. So I'm going to just put one here. Okay, and then I'll get some black ink.
I think I saw real quick somebody way back asked about, couldn't you do like little sunsets and sunrises in those windows?
Absolutely you could. That would be so cool. A really great idea. You definitely can. You could do little clouds and things like that. Yeah, anything that you want, you can do. So I'm probably going to stamp this more than once just to get it nice and black. I did re-ink this black ink pad right before I went live, so, you know, it's probably not spread out enough, but I did offer a little video on my YouTube channel on how to re-ink your ink pad. I did that a little while ago, so if you want to see that, it's a 2-minute technique video, super fast to watch. All right, so we're gonna remove this, and this, and this. Now I'm gonna use this same image down here in this box, but I'm gonna turn it so it kind of goes in the other direction. And again, I don't even need to block the edges off because we already saw that it doesn't go outside of the masking magic. So let's do that. There we go. But I do like using images that go a little bit outside of the box. There's one and two. Okay. Now we're going to do the other design in these boxes, in the purple boxes. So basically taking two different stamps and just turning them and just repeating them in the opposite corners. So we're going to use this one here. I think this would be a really pretty Christmas card too, for those of you that are already thinking in that direction. I feel like it's a great image for a Christmas card. And then you can just put your Merry Christmas greeting in the center, and you can do them in all like turquoise colors for that wintry feel. Or you could do red and green. Do your 2 boxes red and the other 2 green. All right. And then let's do this one down here. And we'll kind of flip that so it's like that. Okay. I think I might want to use that friend on this. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. Because I also could use one of my other pre-cut greetings that I've been playing with today. We'll see. Okay. Now we get to do the fun part. We get to peel and reveal all of that masking magic and see what this actually looks like. Make sure I don't have any ink on my fingers. I think I'm good. Get under there. Okay, so here we go. We're going to peel off the masking magic. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Oh, look how nice and crisp that looks. Isn't that pretty? And I love the fade, right? I love going heavy in the center where it just fades off to kind of nothingness. I think that's so pretty. Now, if you're really good about peeling off your masking magic, you could use the same masking magic for a second card. I tore mine just trying to put it on, so, you know, I'm willing to part with it and move on. But if you're very careful, you definitely can save it. Okay, so let's put these two panels together with a little bit of tape. I could zoom in a little bit now that we're done all of that. There we go, so you can see it a little closer. Isn't that pretty? This ink blends so nicely. Guys, if you have trouble ink blending, if you get the combination of our layering weight white cardstock, our blending brushes, and the ink with the smoothing agent, I really think it makes a difference. Because like if you go back later, even if you have a blotchy spot, it's all smoothed out. It's pretty cool. Okay. Let's see what kinds of card bases I have in my little stash of card bases over here. Okay, I have a Wild Wisteria one. That would be very vibrant, wouldn't it? And I also have I don't know if this would look good. I don't think it would. I think the blue is wrong. That is sea glass. This blue is more periwinkle. So I do like that. I just don't know if I have a blue sky one cut. I don't think I do. I don't think I have any blue sky half sheets either. So, shall we go with the Wild Wisteria? Because I think the Wild Wisteria actually looks really nice here. Yeah, let's do it. Wild Wisteria is an interesting purple because it's a little bit more purple than the lilacs, like a little bit more red purple, just a tiny bit more. But it also is blue enough. It's a blue enough purple that it looks great with blues. So when I say it's a blue purple, let me show you the difference. This is a red purple. This is wild lilac. This has got a lot more red in it. This has a lot more blue in it. So you can see the difference. So when you're using blues, the Wild Wisteria is a great choice. Okay, now I've got a couple of these friend dies already pre-cut, but I feel like I definitely need the shadow die in there. So let me show you how that works. Let's cut a shadow die. I have one right here. My stamps are all stuck to my dies. You know, I cleaned everything up and you would think that that'd be good enough. Oh, also, I do want to show you how nicely one of these pre-cut words would look too. If you just wanted to put a word, should we just do that? Let's do that. That's beautiful. I love that. Let's try Thinking of You. I forgot that I had these all cut, but I will show you the friend on another one. Oh, Thinking of You. Let's do Thinking of You because I actually have to send a Thinking of You card out. But one thing I wanted to tell you about the friend die. You see how there's not a dot on the eye? There is a dot on the eye. Now the dots are called the tittle, but it's real easy to lose your tittles. So I cut 3 friend dies out, and what I did was I put all my tittles right here on a little strip of masking magic. This way I wouldn't lose them. So if you're going to cut a lot of friend dies out, you know, ahead of time, just get a little piece of masking magic and put all your tittles on there. Sorry, Tom. I saw you come in. All of a sudden you're interested now in card making? All right. So I'm going to put a few little a few little foam squares on the back here. It's so funny. And then we'll just pop this up. Oh my goodness. It's fun here today. Yeah, if you want to get your guy into card making, just tell him, you know, tell him about those dotted eyes, the tittles. He might want to get into it. Who knows? All
You
right.
might have better luck with shards.
Yeah, you might have better luck with shards. All right, so there's our first card with the Master Layouts 9 4-up panels. So isn't that fun? Really, seriously, think about this as a Christmas card idea, because with the berry kind of, they're not berries, but you know, that whole feel looks very Christmassy to me, and I think that it would make a beautiful card. And in reds and greens, or in, you know, blues and pines, it would be a very pretty one. All right, I'm going to put this aside, and now we're going to get to our next card. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut out, see, anybody that's not watching today, they're missing out on all the fun, right? They need to get over here. Somebody share this video and let people know what they're missing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this other piece of Masking Magic, and we're going to cut out a oval out of this. And we're also going to use a piece of white cardstock, and we're going to do another Master Layouts 2. Now again, I'm only doing Master Layouts 2 because it's decorative. It's got the stitches. But you don't have to do the stitching. You can just do, you know, whatever works for you. This is kind of a beat up piece of cardstock here, but we're going to make it work. I'm just going to cut a 1/4 sheet. Is that even going to work with Master Layouts 2? Look at the weird shape of that. That's what happens when you have a scrap box. You have things that don't necessarily work. Oh yeah, plenty of room. We'll make it work. You could cut this yourself, and it would be 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inch. All right. So now we're going to take this and we're going to place that on there. I'm just going to tape it with a little Masking Magic just because it's pretty close to that top edge there. And I'm going to cut this out, and then I'll zoom out a little bit. Tom didn't do the word of the day yet, but he's going to do one. I'm going to tighten that just a hair because I forgot to put it in on an angle. Oh, thank you, Monarch Mama. My nails are Olive and June press-on nails. It's my new little guilty pleasure. This color is called Baby Starfish, and they're really holding up well. I like them because I was using the Impress ones, and they're good, but I have really short nail beds. My nail beds only, you know, come up to there, and the gel stuff underneath, the sticky stuff, extends past my nail bed, and so I get a lot of paper shards, and just, it looks dirty under there. It gets caught under there. So this, I just use a little bit of the gel glue, and it only goes up to the end of my nail bed, which is kind of nice. But remember, I put my die cutting machine away because I'm chatting about nails. I was a nail tech in my prior life, so I feel pretty comfortable with glue and stuff like that. If you don't feel comfortable with glue, the Impress ones might be better for you. But I actually, Tom and I owned 5 nail salons and a nail school. Can you believe it? So I'm going to cut this one down on my paper cutter to match again, to make sure it's the same size. So this one measures 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inch. I want to cut it down so that it's that size. Don't trust the fact that ThermoWeb says that these are 5 by 7, because ThermoWeb is very giving, and they'll give you a tiny bit more on the edge. So I would cut it down so that it's the right size. I didn't cut it perfectly on that side, so I'm going to do this. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you a fun little technique too on this one. So this is like the perfect size oval for grounding anything. You know, we talk about grounding images all the time on this channel. And I feel like this oval is like the perfect size for doing masking kind of grounding or stenciling. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't really trust yourself to kind of freehand it, you can always cut out an oval with a piece of cardstock and kind of use it as a stencil, and then throw a decorative stencil on top to create your little pattern in the center of the card. Oh, thank you. I don't feel like my nails are always that pretty. Actually, I've been pretty bad about it, but I appreciate it. You're very kind. I do always try to polish them a little bit so that they're not horrific, but these are fun. And they last about 2 weeks, so that's a pretty good deal. I got mine at Walgreens, but I did order more of this color on Olive and June's website because my Walgreens only had 2 packs. Okay. Now you can keep this for another project. For example, you could use this on a piece of cardstock and you can ink blend all around it. And then when you pull this off, you've got a white space in the center to do all of your stamping. And that's a pretty cool look too. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and line this up again. So again, I'm going to just pull the top part of this paper off, leaving the bottom still on there because I want to line it up. And it's just easier to line up when you're only dealing with half of it being sticky. And then I'm going to line it up on that corner, top and side. I bought like stronger readers for this up close kind of stuff. It's pretty close. Not bad. It's going to be hanging off the edge a little bit. I think I might move it over just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. I probably should have trusted ThermoWeb that it was exactly 3.5 inches, but okay, so that's pretty good. Now I'm just kind of like just letting it fall into place and tapping it down. Now I can remove this bottom part, and this is just such an easy way to adhere your masking magic. Otherwise, it's so unruly. It's all twisty and weird because it's very, very thin. All right, so now that looks really good. We're on. We got it on. You can see it a little better if I turn it to the side. You see it on there? Okay. So now let's pick some bright sunny colors for this ink blend. We're going to do like a bright kind of sky look. All right, so we could use some, let's use some peach Bellini. Then we'll go sweet mango to peach. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do sweet mango to peach Bellini. I got to think in my color order. Then we're going to go to Bubblegum Pink. And then we'll go to light lilac. That's going to be our sky. Isn't that going to be pretty? So let's find an orange blending brush. We've got to find a pinkish blending brush. We could use this one.
Janet wants to know, could you use a little larger white cardstock and trim to the size after? Does that work?
Oh, yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, you could do your blending on there, just cut a bigger piece of masking magic, and then go ahead and line up your master layouts too and do it that way. For sure you can do that. Absolutely. Trying to think. I think I want to go this way. I know this is upside down, but it's a little shorter here than it is there, and I just think that's going to look better. Okay, and then I have a purple one, so I think we're good to go. Now, where's my ink stand? Here we go. Okay. We're going to start with that sweet mango. We're going to make that beautiful. No, let's go the other way. We'll start with the light lilac. Now, I have a little medium lilac on this brush. I'm going to leave it. I don't care. That's totally fine. And I am going to use my Post-it notes just to protect the top and the bottom from where I'm ink blending. Just right there. All right, so I turned it sideways because it's easier for me to blend this way than it is to blend kind of down like that. So let's load this up with some light lilac. Joan, I sort my ink pads based on the color labels. Our art director, Brian, created those color labels for us, and he did them in the order of like how they should be organized. So I just use that, and you can even just see the picture on the website too to do it. You don't have to have the color labels to do it. Just go over to the website, type in color labels, and they will come up. Okay, so we've got some purple here. Looking good. Oh, there's one thing that I didn't do that I want to do. Okay, and I'm glad I caught it now because it would have been a bummer. So I want to use a strip sentiment. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I want to make some space for this strip sentiment. So I'm going to look at my Masking Magic strips, and I think the right size is going to be the 1/4 inch. So we can kind of test this. All right, so here's a 1/4 inch, and I want to see if this is going to be big enough. So if I did "You Are My Best," I think that will fit in there pretty nicely. So what I want to do is I want to lay this out the way I want this card to look. I'm going to put this right across the center here, this Masking Magic, across the center. And then that's going to leave room for my word friend down here. You are my best friend, okay? So put your little strip of Masking Magic on there, going across wherever you want your word before you do your ink blending. So it's good that we caught it when we caught it. All right. So now I've got a decent amount of purple on there. Let's go to the next color. We're going to go to the pink. I'm going to use some Bubblegum Pink. And this is the brush I picked. I have no idea what's on this brush, but we're going to clean it just to be careful, just to be safe. Yeah, these Master Layouts videos are a little long, I know that, but you know, there's a lot of tips and tricks in them. I think they're worth the time. And it is fun to explore something like a die set that you have and just make a whole bunch of different things. So, okay, put this over here. So now I'm going to load this up with some bubble gum. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to start right on the purple there. Go across. Now, if you're worried about your sides, you can always put another little Post-it note over here, right? Just to protect the cardstock. If your Masking Magic didn't go all the way to the edge, that makes you feel better. It's worth it. And we're going to get that back up into that purple. Now I'm going to go back with whatever's left on that purple brush and just brush that down into that bubble gum. Okay. Remember, this is going to be a sky. There's going to be a lot going on in front of it. Now we're going to do some peach Bellini. So this looks like it had peach Bellini on it, hopefully. And again, be a little careful here. I'm going to add some peach Bellini in here. I like going, you know, from... I guess you could do like the orange into the pink directly, but having that little bit of peach in there I think is really pretty. I'm going to go up into that pink, and then whatever's left on this pink brush, I'm going to add a little bit more of that in there. And now I'm going to finish it off with some real vibrant orange, which this sweet mango is going to be very vibrant. And that'll kind of look like the sun coming up from the horizon. You could also brighten this whole thing up more if you wanted to use more bold colors like Tangerine Twist instead. That would be a much bolder look. But I think that's going to look really pretty. Go a little bit higher in there. Okay. So, I know it looks like a hot mess right now, but it's going to look good. I have faith. All right, now I'm going to take these Post-it notes off, and I don't care if I pull the masking magic off. I want to. So let's see what this all looks like. There we go, and there's our little opening for our greeting. Isn't that fun? Love that. And again, you could save the masking magic, so if you wanted to make this card again, here I did a good job this time of not losing my masking magic piece. You could just take this, and what some people do is they'll just stick it right onto their stamp set so that they can use that over and over again. And this even will guide you where to put your masking magic strip if you want to save that and use that again too. So it's totally fine to save those and reuse them. Just make sure you use the same colors, because masking magic is not very porous. So you have to remember that, you know, it might still activate the ink a little bit when you put ink back over it. And so you want to stay within that same color family. All right, so now it's time to do some stamping. So here's one of the tricks. Before we stamp, we're going to take this strip of masking magic and we have to put it back over that center spot. Now I know this is going to look crazy because it's not in the same spot, but I definitely want to make sure that it's tacked down well. So I wanted to get it off the edge a little bit. All right, so we have to put that strip back on because we're going to stamp our image, but we need to leave that opening for the greeting. So I'm going to use this big image right here. I'm going to put that right in the center like this. Okay. And now I'm going to ink it up with some black. Somebody was asking in our group, can you do silhouette stamps with other colors? And you absolutely can. But the whole silhouette idea, to make them look more like a silhouette, is kind of using black. But you could do all kinds of inking techniques like thumping and kissing and all those other solid stamp techniques that we do with silhouette and chunky images. So absolutely you can. You can do them in navy and in brown. I still feel like black is the most striking. Okay. Now I want to make sure that I do put a little extra pressure right along that masking magic so we get a nice crisp impression right down to the line. See how it's not perfectly crisp right there? So I can put that back and I can, you know, press on that a little bit just to get it up a little bit higher. We can use a little bit more ink on that.
We still sell labels for the sides of ink pads, don't we?
Yes, they're called color labels. Okay, that's going to look pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this masking magic strip off, and I have my opening now for my greeting to go across. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to use the friend die here or not. I probably should, but there's so many ways to use that I think I'll use it on the next card. I think for this one, I'm going to use So Very Thankful. There's also Happy Birthday. That would be nice in there. There's Hang in There if somebody is struggling a little bit. There's I Miss You So Much. That's really nice. And So Very Thankful. And then You Are My Best, and then you can put Friend down here. But you see, I have to use the shadow die because I've stamped in black, and I don't want to cover this up with the shadow die. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and make a simple thank you card here. So now this is scary because, you know, you're going to stamp this in here and you want to make sure that it's straight. So once again, we're going to use that little trick where we stamp it onto the acetate first. So let me get the acetate. We're just going to put the acetate right over it. You can see I've done this before. And we're going to stamp it to make sure that it's in the right spot. So that looks pretty straight, right? You can see that? straight enough. So we can clean that.
Is that a little closer to the right than the left?
Oh, I don't know. Is it? Did it look closer to the right?
It looked straight, but it looked a little bit closer to the...
Like over here?
Yeah. Does it matter?
No, it does look a little bit closer. Now watch, I got it perfect and I'm going to struggle and it's... All right, let's try that again.
Back to the dead space.
I'm leaving this acetate sheet on here because that's going to help grab the stamp a little bit too. Make it easier for me to let go once I get it in the right spot. Let's see. I feel like I must really lean toward that. Let's see how that looks. Okay. See if it's straight. I'm more concerned about it being straight. That's not straight. That's going downhill. So, this is the reason why this video is going to be 3 hours long. Okay, we'll try it one more time. And hopefully I'll get it not just straight but centered. Oh, it's going over the side a little bit more. There we go. Okay, hopefully that's going to be good. Well, it might be to the right a little bit, but I'm leaving it because it's not easy to line that up, and it was spot on last time, but this is going to be close. Better than horrible this time. All right, so let's ink this up because literally I could be here all day trying to get it absolutely perfect. I think this is going to be fine. See that? Looks fine. It looks good enough. If somebody doesn't like how that's centered, you know, when you give them the card, take it back. Okay, there we go. So that leaves that nice little opening for us to stamp in there. I think it's pretty close. Close enough. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to cut a... I'm going to keep the die cutting machine out, and I'm going to cut the panels for the next one, for the next two, and then I won't have to keep pulling the die cutting machine out. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut a black panel. I don't want to lay this in the brushes here. We're going to cut a black panel, and then we're going to cut 2 more white panels for our next 2 cards, and we're going to cut some masking magic out. So let me find some white cardstock. I know where it is. It's all organized over here. Just cut a quick quarter sheet. And again, you can do that other idea where you do all your ink blending first and then cut it out later. That's totally fine to do. But for the sake of saving some time, I'm just going to cut these all out now. I don't have an ETA on the Chucky tool. I just emailed the guy yesterday and he hasn't gotten back to me yet. So I told him everybody's waiting. But I don't have an ETA. Each one is handmade, and you can imagine how many we ordered because of how many people are probably going to want one. So he's busy and he's hand painting each of them, and then they have to dry in between coats. So it's my bad. I got too excited and I shared it that it was coming, and now I've got everybody all excited about it, and it's taking forever. So I apologize for that. All right, so we've got 2 of these. Now I'm going to cut 3 quick black ones that I could have prepped this last night, but I really didn't know 100% what I was going to make today and how I was going to do this video. But now that this is rolling out the way it is. I feel like these are good techniques for everybody to learn, and there's a lot of little fun tips and tricks and stuff to share along the way. I know. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants one. That's what I'm afraid of. Not afraid, but this poor guy, I gotta tell him he's gotta start the next batch right away. They're very cool. He's doing a great job. The nice thing is I'm supporting a really tiny family's business because it's just him and his child, little child, and he just moved into a new house, so now he's got a little more space to make these. And this is his dream. His dream is to be able to do this for a living. So we're his very first customer, and he's very excited. So, you know, I mean, there's something different about the Chucky tool than all the other tools out there on the market. It makes it special. Makes it work better, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Let's see. So now we need some masking magic. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces of masking magic again. So I've got the regular masking magic sheets here. I know, and we named it after Chuck because he's the one that invented it. And so it is called the Chucky tool. He's the one that invented it, and I feel like he should be the one getting the credit for it, right? So I cut this down to match the master layouts too, and I'm going to do the next one the same way. 3.5 by 4 3/4. All right, now, so for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to cut a circle down here. We're going to cut one circle right here. I'm going to tape that into place.
2 questions from Carrie. Will you come out with Christmas stamps that fit into those square windows from the first card? And is there a date for the May release yet?
We always have something that fits in our postage dies, which are about the same size boxes. So I'm sure we'll have something that will work. But I don't have that all designed yet. And what was the other question, Tom?
May release.
I don't have a date for that yet. I don't have a date because we're really kind of at the mercy of the die manufacturer. And let me just say it's a hot mess out there right now. That's all I want to say, is it's a hot mess out there right now trying to get product because everybody's trying to get as much as they possibly can right now. So, yep, we'll let you know. As soon as we know, we'll definitely let you know. I think it's going to be the second Tuesday of May. That's kind of the plan in my head. But again, like, I don't know 100%. All right, so I'm cutting these 3 windows here. And they don't have to be perfect. They could be any way that you want, you know. I kind of like that when they're a little staggered. Okay. Yeah, I'm waiting. I have half of the Chucky tools here. And they've been sitting in our warehouse for, you know, almost 2 months. But we had a lot of bad weather, and so this young man was making them outside, and he couldn't make them outside. All right, so now I've got this look here going, right? And then for this one, I'm going to cut the long die so that we can make one of each. It's hard to pick things up with the nails. Oh, you know what? I needed a longer piece of masking magic for this one. I wonder how that would look. I wonder if it would look cool to make it like a like go to the top like this and then have it just, I'm going to try it. Try it. Give it a little bit of breathing space at the bottom. Kind of like a, you know, like a flag, how they come in on a card. Let's just give it a try. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe a little different than what I was expecting to do, but I think it might be cool. Okay, so there we go. All right, so there's my 2 masked pieces. And I could keep these for other things, for sure. And I think I have everything cut out that I need, except I'm going to cut a friend shadow die. Just going to cut one white one out of a small piece of white cardstock, because I definitely want to use that so that I've used every die in the collection. And as long as we have our, you know, our friend words cut out and our tittles saved, we're in good shape. Tom's unsubscribing right now. All right. So now we can go back and finish off this other card, because we have a black panel now that we can use. And then the last 2 cards are going to go very quickly. So let's go ahead and put these 2 pieces together. The thing that I like about these cards, you can add a bunch of embellishments if you want, but they're so striking just the way they are. They're so simple and so striking. I just thought I lost my other one, but there it is. And I think it might be really cool to use bubblegum as the card base for this. Let me see if I have some. I do. I think that'll pull that bubblegum pink out of there. It didn't even look like bubblegum to me, but once you get the cardstock on there, your eye is just drawn right to the bubblegum spot in that blend. So we're going to cut this down using the big cutter to 4 1/4 by 11, because I don't have a bubblegum panel. See, this is where you get messy, because I do not stop to organize my scraps when I'm in the middle of making a card, and that's what I have to remember to do. At the end, I've got to organize all the scraps that I made today. I'm going to try to be good about it. I'm scoring this at the 5 1/2 mark. And let me get the crease in there. Okay. And so that's going to go right on top. I really like this card. I like the technique of making that space for the greeting. But you can also, you know, if you like just using the oval, it's a great grounding panel in there. And you can always just go ahead with a big fancy greeting right across it too, and it would be just as beautiful, right? Tom, Christmas cheer stamp will work. Yes, it will. The Christmas cheer is a perfect one. That's great. Okay, so 2 cards so far. Now we're going to move on to our next card. So we're going to do the 3 rings. And again, we're starting at the top, lining this up, because it's going to be a lot easier to do it that way. And I know it seems like it's complicated to do this, but it's a lot easier than you think if you start at that top corner. You know, I say that, and now it'll be a problem. And then just work your way over on the top to the other side. Okay? Then, because you didn't take that liner paper off the back, the release paper, now that laid down very easily. Now you can take this part off and it'll be very easy. All right, now for this color combination, I think I'm going to do a blue, I'm going to do a purple, a blue, and a green. And it's going to be okay if those colors overlap a little bit into each other. Okay. So I'm going to find my, here it is, my sticky mat. And I'm going to go with some medium lilac, some blue sky, and everybody's favorite jelly bean green. So those are the colors I'm going to do. Now, Tom, I see people asking about the word of the day. So would you like to do that while I ink blend? They can watch me ink blend. And I'm going to do, let me just say, I'm going to do this kind of swirl thing where I'm going to like start on an angle like this. I'm going to go purple into blue a little bit, blue into green a little bit, and then green. Maybe we'll do one more color at the bottom here. Maybe we'll do just a hair of wild dandelion, just to kind of have a 4-color blend. All right. Okay. So have at it, Tom.
It's time for Word o' the Day. All right. I got a threefer. Trifecta word of the day. Phrase of the day. It's phrase of the day. And this goes out, this series of phrases of the day goes out to all the doublers out there who not only card make, but scrapbook.
Oh.
And quilt. Quilting more than this would apply to. So for all the quilters out there, if you're having a great day with the quilting and it's just going your way and you're nailing it and you're on fire and everything's working the way you would like it to work, you are having a bout of situational awareness.
Oh, no.
You are experiencing situational awareness. And if you're not having a great day, or you're a beginner quilter, or you're just having trouble with it, you are having situational awareness. And if you happen to be sewing clothes, you're having situational awareness.
Oh, my gosh.
And a bonus.
Oh, no.
And
Oh,
a
really?
bonus word. Just thought of it. Another name for your stamping, quilting, scrapbook room could be the situation room.
Oh, it's very good.
Complete with Wolf Blitzer. Phrase of the day, back to the dead space in a hurry.
In a hurry. Wow. Well, that was worth waiting for, everybody. We got a whole barrage of words of the day. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I wonder how many people here do sew or quilt, or crochet too, because those and knit, because those are stitches, embroidery. Sure, you hit somebody in there, Tom, with that fantastic barrage.
Yeah, those double skills. That's what they call musicians that play two instruments or three or more. Doublers.
Doublers. That's good. I like it. All right, so I've got the green, I've got the yellow, I've got the blue, and I've got the purple. So we went in rainbow order, right? So everything could blend into everything else. And now I'm going to pull this off. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to stamp outside of these circles. So I'm going to take this off first. And I've got those cool. Hey Tom, this is kind of like a Tom card. It's got shapes. Right?
I don't see any square tangles yet.
Or rectagons. Rectagon is one that I'll never get over. So I'm going to stamp these images on top of these circles, but I'm going outside of the circle, which I think looks really cool. All right. So I need my black ink pad. How's everybody holding up out there? You getting through this long video? All right, here we go. There's one. Oh, I like that. It's so delicate. I'm not going to stamp it a second time. I like the way it looks. All right, now we're going to do the same thing down here. We're just going to turn it a little bit.
This would be fun if you couldn't overlap it, but if you did like fish, like you're looking out the windows of a submarine.
Oh yeah, that would be really cute, having the fish in there. Well, Tom, everybody's asking for you to come back and make another card, so...
Some guy's Rolex, the bottom.
At the bottom of the ocean. And then we're going to do this one over here. Should we do it that way? Should we do it? No. Let's do it this way. There we go. So sometimes I like to leave the masking magic on like we did in the first card and keep everything contained inside the masking magic. But with this layout, we are stepping outside of the masking magic, which I think looks really pretty. And I think it fills in the space a little bit more. Fills in the dead space. Okay.
Just like me.
Just like you. Filling in the dead space. Alrighty, now I'm going to take this off. And we are going to make a strip sentiment greeting, because I do have to do that too. And with these kinds of strip sentiment greetings, you know, does this happen to you guys too? Right in the middle of a important part. You need to open a new pack of tape. Enjoy your lunch, Deborah. It's kind of fun to be here during the lunch hour. Are some of you at lunch at work watching?
No, they're not.
All right. So we'll get that on there, and then we'll pick a color. I'm feeling the green for this, because I feel like the green is mostly in the center, but also that yellow might be a really good color to use. So let's make a strip sentiment for this. Now, I want to do this strip sentiment and make it really easy on myself, because lining up a die on a strip sentiment isn't always the easiest thing to do. So I'm trying to decide if we're going to use the friend word here.
Is the funnest part of this card deciding what base color to use?
I really think it is. Why don't we assemble these two pieces together first, just so that we can really look. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. Okay. So I refilled all my glue bottles and cleaned everything up, so it should be pretty good now coming out. On Tuesday night, I had left my bottle open like all weekend, and I had to soak the cap and get a pin to clean it out because everything dried up in there. It happens to the best of us, right? Right. Okay, so with this, to adhere these two together, I just start at one end. And I get that letter, and then I work my way across. I don't worry if it's like all over the place, because these kinds of words, you know, they can be kind of twisty. So I just do one letter at a time. And the glue is forgiving. It'll get you there. There we go. All right. Now we can't forget our tittle. The part you've been waiting for, Tom. Okay. So now like I said, I saved all the tittles for the ones that I cut out. There they are. I'm just going to take one and just put it on here. There we go. And it's upside down. No, there. Is that upside down? Let's pick it up with the wax part. So these pick up just like embellishments. So they're pretty easy to do. So I just use my pick and stick tool.
Elin is asking, is the glue tape you're using strong enough to hold the cards together? I feel it is not strong enough.
I've never had any cards fall apart, and I've been using this for years. This is my brand of tape that ThermoWeb makes for me, and I've never had a problem with it. So we could do the big friend right here, like that, and then we could add a strip sentiment to that. Or we can even just say friend, and then we could put the greeting on the inside. Why don't we do that? I think that's going to look good. So I want to do yellow. Isn't that pretty? Doesn't that just make it all jump out? I think it does. So let's get the paper cutter. Oh, maybe, do I have a yellow? I might have a yellow. See, this is, I don't. You know, spent all that time organizing and I don't have a wild dandelion. I have a butterscotch, but I don't have a wild dandelion. Which is the yellow that I need for this? It's all right. I will have one now because I will take this and put it right in that pile. Alrighty. Now where, pray tell, did I put my scoring board? Oh, here it is. I don't even remember putting it there. Yeah, I think Wild Dandelion is the ticket here for this card. These cards are bright and fun, and, you know, why not? But I do make more friendship cards than any kind of cards, really. Just because, like, a lot of my friends are card makers, so I know that if I send my friend a card, she's going to appreciate it. But birthday cards are good, too. But, you know, you could have friend on the front, and then you could put any greeting you want on the inside. So you might want to just make this card and not put a greeting on the inside, and then decide what you want to put on. You know, friend, thinking of you, miss you, happy birthday, whatever you want on the inside later when you know what you need. All right, so we're going to just put a couple little foam squares on here and pop this up. Get a few extras on here. Now some of these I might need to trim down a little bit. Just have smaller ones, like little halfies or 3/4 sizes. I'll put one right here like that. Okay, I think that's going to do it for me. Let's get these little liners off. And of course, I lost my tweezers again. Probably somebody sees them. I'm looking around, trying to find them. They could be anywhere and everywhere. It's my only pair, too. So I'll just eyeball this. And I think, there we go. That's a fun card, huh? Fun and simple, and uses the masking magic. And again, if you don't have Masking Magic, you can make these same templates just out of regular cardstock. Just make your cardstock bigger so you could tack it down on your sticky mat on the outside, or just use some pixie tape or washi tape or something to tack it down. All right, our last card for today is going to be this one that I didn't know what I was doing. So let's give this a try. I think this is going to be fun. Now this is going to be a little unruly, I think, this Masking Magic. But, oh no, look. I could take the bottom off first. That's what I want to do. Take the bottom off first, because I'm going to use that as my guide. And I'm going to get this on here. So, Tom, do you have any color preferences for this card? Have I not used enough orange?
You could use more orange.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Tom's favorite color is orange. So I will use orange for this. And I know it's just a little off the side here, so I'll just put Post-it note on there. But that's okay. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna be fine. Okay, now this is going to go onto my sticky mat. I am going to wipe this sticky mat down just to get any loose ink that might have been on there off. I'm going to stick that on there. All right, so let's do a blend of orange. We'll make it really bright and sunshiny. So let's start with, let's go orange, yellow into green. I think that'll be really bright and fun. Do you like that plan, Tom?
Either green or blue.
Well, if we do yellow into blue, we're going to get green in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
My bad.
We could do blues if you'd rather do blues.
No, do what you were thinking.
I'm good with whatever. If you want more blue. Let's go brighter orange this time. Let's do Tangerine Twist this time. I like to keep Brienne guessing. She was ready with Sweet Mango. I know she was. Playing games with her now. I got to spend time with Brienne last week. So nice. She's such a love. I love her so much. Okay, there we go. So we're going to start with Tangerine. And we'll start down here at the bottom with the Tangerine. We could do, Tom, more like a really bright sunset kind of dealy. What do you think of that?
That sounds good.
All right, we'll do the sunset idea. So when you start with orange, you got to somehow get to blue. And you want to get to blue without getting green in there. So we're going to do the orange, and then we're going to go into pink. And I'm going to use Passionate Pink. I'm going to use Passionate Pink because I want to have a brighter pink color. We're going kind of bright here. All right, and then I'm going to protect this right here because I know that it's open on that side. The cardstock is showing. So I'm going to go down into that orange a little bit and then work my way up more pink. All right. Then we're going to go into purple. I'm going to go brighter purple, so I'll do the medium lilac again. Yeah, it's easy to end up with brown, right? Hey, I've done it too. I've done it. Gotten that yellow mixed in with the purple just at the right spot.
You got a problem with brown?
Not a problem with brown at all, but not in a sunset. No problem. All right. So we've got that there. I'm telling you, it's going to look good. Don't worry about what it looks like right now. Now we're going to go to... let's do blue denim. I'm choosing blue denim. I feel like there's a really dark blue on here, so I'm going to just do a little alcohol quick over that. Well, that's going to be okay. All right, little blue denim. I'm going to come in from the top here.
How many ink colors do we have right now? And do you, they come in both ink pads and cubes, right?
Right. Oh gosh.
It's got like
63 maybe. And I'll just let you in on a secret that we have 4 new colors coming. 4 new ones. Not for a little while though. Look toward the summer for that. The cardstock takes forever to get milled. And it's going to have matching cardstock. And I'm going back over this with the purple a little bit just to smooth that out. Okay, so now we've got this kind of sunset thing going. And now I'm going to pull all of the masking magic off. So here we go. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I love it. I love it. All right. Now, it's not dead center, but I'm going to live with that. And we'll try to fake the eye out a little bit by doing some stamping that isn't exactly perfectly straight. So I'm going to use the butterfly image. So if I do one here, and then I do one here, and then I do one over here. So I'm going to go off the paper a little bit, right up here. So these butterflies, they're heading home for the night. They've been out all day doing their butterfly stuff, whatever butterflies do in the day. And it's getting dark, and they got to get home. Look at what I just did. I don't want to make a mess on my cardstock. Okay. Let's clean this up. Just, you know how that is. It would never transfer unless I didn't want it to. Okay. So we're going to do a butterfly up here. Oh, that's pretty. One more. Okay. I feel like this would be really good with like white spatter on top of it. I'm not going to do that, but I think it would look really good that way. Now this one, he's flying over here this way. We don't worry about things that are just a little bit off center. Although I did earlier with the greeting, but this is fine. There we go. Two. And then one more. Welcome to the party. Welcome, everyone. It is great to see you all here. Okay. Now this last one, I'm going to turn it just a little bit like this. So it's not exactly in the same position, because if it was exactly the same, I feel like it would be almost too regimented. So we could take it down just a hair so it's off the bottom. I don't know. I kind of like the distance right here. So let's do that. We'll keep it close like the other one. Yes, look how pretty they are. Things in threes always look so nice. And I love this blend. You see how the blend is getting better than it was earlier? Like, it didn't look that great. And some of you are probably thinking, that kind of looks like a hot mess. Yeah, you don't really notice the off-centeredness as much because everything's off-center. When everything's off-center, then it's supposed to be that way, right? Okay. So now I'm going to peel this off. And we're going to figure out a greeting. And maybe I'll use one of my pre-done greetings for this instead of using one from this stamp set. We've pretty much exhausted this stamp set, and I think that you all know how to cut a strip sentiment out of the coordinating strip sentiments. So I think it would be okay if I used one of my other greetings that I have done. And then we've got to pick a card base color. And again, like I'm feeling the pink because I like to use a card base color that's more in the center of the blend than right along the edge. I feel like what's ever in the center kind of gets minimized a little bit. And then when you use that color, it makes it pop. So let me show you what I mean. Because I do have some passionate pink here. But I kind of like the way this worked with kind of like going all the way up to the top, but then not going all the way to the bottom. Anything goes. It's your card, so you can do it any way that you want. Okay, so let me get a passionate pink piece here. Now you see what I mean? Now here's passionate pink. Now without it, I see a lot of blue. I see a lot of glowy orange. But when you put this down and then you hit that, now I feel like this just kind of comes to life a little bit. You know, I see this more now because my eye is like, this is bringing my eye into that spot. So I know there's probably a technical thing that makes it do that, but I make cards, so I don't know all the technical stuff. I just know that it looks good. So let's go with pink here. I gotta find the perfect greeting for this. So let me find my scoreboard again. It shouldn't be so easy to lose things. See, but we're all the same, right? We're all losing stuff. Alrighty. Now, yeah, as soon as I know when our next release is, I will definitely let you guys know. We do have a kit coming up, and I think you're going to like this next kit, too. This one, we got something masculine going on in this next kit. And feminine, too. And we have a brand new product that we're releasing for the very first time that's going to be in the kit. So, brand new. Never before released at Gina K Designs. So that's exciting. Okay. So now, why don't we use one of those pretty greetings? I think we did thinking of you. So we could do thankful. So we could put it here. We could put it up here. We could put it right. I feel like it's better down a little bit, kind of out of the way. Let's see what other greetings we have. I cut so many. See what I did? Cut like a million different things here. So I've got a lot of these. Like I have some smaller things in here that might be better. Like maybe grateful for your love and support. That would be pretty. So what I'm going to do is, now you see, I feel like this greeting looks really good, but then I feel like I've got too much space right here. It's just the way my eye is looking at it. You know, even if I used like happy birthday, I still feel like I need something up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in with embellishments so that my eye feels better about the whole thing. So let's see. I know I've been doing a lot of thinking of you, but I actually have 3 thinking of you cards that I have to send. So I think these 3 cards would be really good cards for me. The thinking of you, the friend, and this one. I think they would be a nice collection. So I'm going to do a thinking of you. Oh, I could do grateful, though. Did you guys like the grateful for your love and support better? Did you think that was kind of a good one? What do you guys think? Should we go with grateful for your love and support? That's always like a good one to use. All right, we'll use that. I like the way it's got a few like thinner things going on there. Okay. Oh, I see a lot of people saying.
Nima suggested cutting the sentiment.
Oh, I could definitely,
Separating.
yeah. I could cut grateful for your love and support. I could do that. But I want to show you my idea here to try to create some balance, because I think that, you know, you might be in a situation where you just have a single line, right? A single word that you want to put there, and then it feels like there's nothing up there. And I believe that we can do that just using embellishments. So we'll remember the other night I was like, oh, now I have nice nails, so I have to, you know, use them like Kathy Z always says, use your nails, jewels, not tools. But here I am back to picking things off with my grubby fingers. Oh, well. I am who I am. There we go. Let's see, that's sticking out just a little bit. We'll move that down just a hair. Okay. All right, guys. So what do you think of this master layout set? Do you like the idea of all the masking that you can do? I really think that that's how it was designed, but also, you know, using it the way we did in the beginning with those little card samples from the book that we made. Oh, there's just a lot of ways to use this. I'm going to just peek under here to see if my tweezer is somewhere. Found it. Okay. It does help me to line it up straight when I use the tweezer. So, grateful for your love and support. Now, for this one, let's go with, I want to look at the colored pearls too and see if there would be a better color. Now, I think I'm going to go with silver for this instead, because I think we could maybe use some of these, but these are very pastel-y and this is very bold. So I'm going to use some of the silver ones with this. I feel like the cool colors are going to look good. And so I'm going to use one of these big ones up here. So instantly I feel better. I just like already feel more relieved that I've got something going on here. So I'm going to put a big one there, and then I'm going to put a small one up there to fill in that space. And then to kind of level it out a little bit, I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to turn some of these over. There we go. Put one there. And then there we go. Let's see how that looks. No, I'm going to put another one down there. So I feel like this just fills in nicely, especially by using a big pearl in there. And now it doesn't feel like there's a big gap. Oh, the black pearls. Oh yeah, they would look really good too, wouldn't they? Oh, I kind of like your idea. Okay, all right. I like that. Let's do the black pearls. I know I had them all ready, right? But it doesn't matter. This is called blingering, and we blinger when we have to. All right. Oh, I agree. The black. Yes, the black. Good call on the black. Especially with the black and white aspect of this card. And then don't forget, we have a giveaway. So If you haven't made a comment, go ahead and leave a comment because Tom is going to pick a winner. Yeah, I like the black a lot, but you know what I am going to do? I'm going to put one. Do I like that? No. I like that. So all you have to do, if you're new here, all you have to do is leave a comment, and Tom is going to pick a winner who's going to get a Gina K Designs gift card. And then we're going to take a look at all these cards one more time. All right. Love the black. That was a great idea. One. Watch one of my nails fly off. I'm putting so much pressure on it right now. That's why I make cards. Okay. Oh, I love this one. I didn't think I was going to like this one, especially when I made the mistake with the size of the Masking Magic versus the card base, but it's kind of like, definitely think it's definitely up there in the favorites. So let's take a look at the cards one more time. Let me move all my junk out of the way. All right. So we've got, there we go. That's how I clean at home. So if you ever come to my house, things are just pushed into other spaces. All right, so we have this one where we did the masking technique using the rectangle. Here's the one where we used the circles. Here's the one where we use the oval and the 4-up. There we go. Which is your favorite? Do you have a favorite? Pick a favorite and let me know in the comments, or when I post the high quality pictures, let me know which one is your favorite, because I don't know, man. I like them all.
Wow, that's like a week's work right there.
Yeah, right? And we could also add these little black embellishments to these other cards too, which I might do right before I post these pictures, just so that you can see them embellished. It gives them a little something extra. All right, Tom. Well, it is time to do a giveaway. But before we do, if you like this video, we'd love it, love it, love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. That really does help our channel. And also subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. And then we'd love to see you over on our Facebook group. We have a fun Facebook group called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. If you join, don't forget you've got to answer the security questions, which are just like what's your favorite technique and stuff like that. Make sure you answer those and agree to our group rules, and we'll let you in. We would love to have you, and everybody over there is sharing their Gina K Designs projects, so you get lots more inspiration. And then a big thank you to Brianne Loveland today for linking everything, but if you missed any of her links, you can find all the products I used today over on our website at ginakdesigns.com. All right, Tom, let's give away a gift card.
Drum roll, here we go. And the winner today is Amy Adams. Amy Adams,
Yay,
congratulations.
Amy. Congratulations, Amy. Amy, all you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com, and we will get that out to you. We have a $15 gift card for you that you can use anytime you want. All right, everybody. Well, Tom and I will be back again next Tuesday night for another Stamp and Chat Live. And in the meantime, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.